Come on,
This doesn't look dangerous.
Yeah, just a few sparks.
There's someone behind us with a dog and I feel like I'm going to get told off. It's another emergency.
You had an accident, Dad.
Mum, what was that called again?
It went right up to the rim. Hello and welcome to Escaping the Motorhome. My name's Daz and this is B. We're a home education, home working family who recently bought a motorhome to go on great adventures. So join us as we take the family on some wild walks, some wild and not so wild camping, explore our surroundings and try new things whilst getting to grips with living and working in our new small space. We experience the highs and lows of motorhome life. And if you enjoy our channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Good morning everyone. It's 7:30 in the morning and we're still in the car park. It's me, I don't know if you can see him, Mr. Squirrel, a few pigeons over there. Just wanted to run through last night's events. So at 4 in the morning, Phoenix woke up having had a nightmare, so I got out of bed, comforted him by holding his hand. That made me realise I needed the toilet, so I popped to the toilet, came back out, all's quiet, jumped back into bed. Then B informs me that actually Phoenix needed to go to the toilet, so I got back out of bed, climbed up the ladder, took him to the toilet, put him back up into bed, jumped into bed. B then told me she needed the toilet, so she jumped out of bed. I could also hear Etienne was up at this point as well. B jumped back into bed, then began a negotiation with Phoenix for about 10 minutes or so as to how safe he was in the motorhome. In the end, in pursuit of a quiet night's sleep, he came down and joined us in our tiny little double bed. After that, the owl decided to tell us what he'd been up to all night, followed by aeroplanes, which must be coming maybe out of Birmingham. Then after the aeroplanes, I think the bin men came round and did a collection. Then we had some rather noisy guys turn up in the car park. And then after that, I think the birds kicked in, and then just after that, the wood pigeons, probably right above our van here, decided to have a little sing-song too and a chat. Now ordinarily all of those nature sounds are what we kind of like look forward to, but having had quite an early start, everything was keeping us awake, so we're a little short on sleep. The new memory foam mattress was a hit, apart from the ridges where it's still remembering what it looked like when it was rolled up in a bag. Right now, all I want is a cup of tea. Well, behind me is Stampy. We're on one of the main streets in the middle of Warwick. I'm taking a little 4-minute walk to the public toilets up there. Do you like a little bit of wildlife in the morning? Don't let the rats put you off. Actually, these public toilets over my shoulder there are actually quite pretty, and they're in the pageant gardens underneath this massive and rather beautiful looking oak. And this gardens itself is just behind the Tourist Information Centre, and you can find that on the map. So if you're ever in town, these are open really early. It's 8:30 and they're pretty clean inside. And you can enjoy the wildlife too. In order to get the boys moving, we left Stampy on the high street and made our way a short distance across town to St Nicholas's Park, which is a great park right on the edge of the River Avon. It's even got its own theme park, splash and play area, boat hire and riverside parking subject to the height barrier.
Good morning. It's 9 AM and we're in St Nicholas's Park in Warwick. It is the loveliest park. I can't wait to go and walk over by the castle. It just looks gorgeous.
Yes, and we've already seen somebody walking back with their paddleboard. I'm very jealous. Well, this doesn't look like an accident waiting to happen. Come then, B. Show the kids how it's done.
Oh, I suddenly feel mortal.
Didn't you use the train Tony Hawk or something?
It's hurting my wrists.
Look, this guy will show you.
This guy's made of elastic. He'll get going. He's not aware of his own mortality yet. It's poetry in motion. Was that deliberate?
Yeah, of course. Comes with his own soundtrack.
We're looking at the castle. We can always rely on a child to spot something interesting that us grown-ups don't ever see. That is a rather large spider.
So we pulled up next to Kenilworth Castle in the English Heritage car park, which is just to our left here, but as Bea can show you, for some reason today it's chained off.
We know why it's chained off. It is the Queen's funeral today, and our aim is to park up, pay for our parking and watch it online with the children before we start some home ed work, and then maybe have some quiet reflection as we walk around the Kenilworth Castle grounds. But unfortunately the car park is closed, and now we're having to do a rather uncomfortable
3-point turn. But let's see if I can do it in 3.
Right, that was
Just
one.
need to find reverse. That's forward.
Okay, that was smooth.
There we go.
There you go, 10 points to you.
After leaving the English Heritage car park, we did a couple of loops of this park in the centre of the picture before finding a park up with no parking restrictions, or even overnight restrictions from the looks of it, right by the edge. From here we were a short walk from not only the shops, but the Kenilworth Castle that we'd come to visit. Our brand new inverter has decided it would like to add to the noise chaos of today by making a never-ending fart sound. That'll be going back.
Oh dear, I don't think Dad's really wanted to speak on camera then. You had an accident, Dad? Oh dear, cleaning up around the chemical toilet. Indy discovered something sticky and wet. But what had happened?
The last time I saw the soap bottle, it was on the side, and I think when we drove away we forgot to pack it away, so it's flipped over, the lid's come off, the main bottle went down one side of the toilet and luckily landed upright, but the other one must have had a load of soap on it, so there's a big puddle of
Liquid soap.
gloopy soap everywhere.
It smells divine in here. So the toilet is getting an impromptu clean.
There you go.
That's the first time I've ever seen Daryl on his hands and
No,
knees clean the
it's,
toilet floor.
You said that in the last video.
It's the second time I've seen Daryl on his hands and knees cleaning.
Thanks.
Well, that's quite nice. We're visiting this. Elizabeth is going off to Windsor Castle and we're visiting an Elizabethan garden, presumably a different Elizabeth, maybe Elizabeth I. But we've just found out what we're stood on is a huge medieval dam, and it was holding back a massive body of water there. It isn't there anymore, but it was classed as a defence. So this is a 13th century part of the castle, and the unpopular King John was responsible for its building. As you can see, it's a bit of a ruin. It's extremely weathered. just spotted. This looks very Tudor-like. It reminded me of a Hampton Court gateway. And looking through here, I know they've got their Elizabethan garden. Can't get into it today because it's closed. But Tudor followed by Elizabethan, sounds about right.
Well, ooh, get me. I must be feeling flush with my cash. Just a 4-minute walk away from where we've parked up. Not only are there public loos, which is a bonus, but I've used the voucher to get a deal on one of our favourite vegan pizza makers. And the boys have no idea, so I'm going to surprise them with dinner tonight. Special delivery!
Where's my one? Whoa, Papa John!
Ah, cauliflower wings. This is my kind of heaven. It's even more heavenly because I haven't got to cook.
Leave some for me. It's another emergency. So this apparently has just come out of there and is a tiny bit yellowish around there. But I hope this is not another leak.
It's 7 PM and it's goodbye to Kenilworth and Warwick. He loves being here, and it's going to be hello to Stafford on our way to Alton Towers.
We left Kenilworth Castle and headed north around Birmingham, avoiding the toll road, up to another wild camp.
Good morning everybody, and this is our park up for the night. We found this on Park for Night and it's very pleasant. It's right by a river and opposite a pub called the Cricketers Arms, about 5 minutes from Alton Towers. It's just perfect. We were just typing in information about local public toilets and it brought up all the toilets inside Alton Towers. So we do have to travel over to Morrison's this morning to get some bread and to use the toilets because we do this evening need to empty our black waste. So we are going to have to rely on a Britstops pub that will hopefully help us out, or perhaps contact Camping and Caravanning and see if someone will let us empty it for a small charge. There's Stumpy in the background. Not quite sure what we've parked by. That looks rather idyllic there, but I thought I'd wander down here and see what I can see. Because even though the road has been quite busy since about 6 o'clock, I can hear a lot of bird song and I can hear the stream. So let's see what I can see. This is what was serenading me to my sleep last night. Not bad at all. Right, I've just spotted this. No overnight tents or caravans. That's slightly troubling that I've spotted that, having had that site registered as being okay on Park for Night. Oh dear. Well, I was just reading about the fact that this was a canal bridge in the Cricketers Arms, and apparently you can see marks from all the stonemasons. And this is the canal that would have transported limestone and coal, I was just reading. So there, the little canal down there. Ah.
It's a bit shallow.
It does look a bit shallow, but probably in its time. But yeah, 1777 apparently was built.
So it turns out the wall that we parked next to last night, according to the sign, was part of a construction for limestone kilns, because lime was a really important building material.
Have we just realised because of the canal that was built down here?
What we've got here, this is obviously with the arch below, over there, next to us is where the kiln was. And this little map here shows the layering of limestone and coal, with the always burning at the top and then taking out the burnt limestone at the bottom. Once everyone had had a breakfast, it was a quick 5-minute drive up the road to Alton Towers.
Now, what do they do with motorhomes at Alton Towers, I wonder? Let's see what this guy says. He's coming up to us. Uh-oh.
Hello.
She directed you where to go?
No.
No.
Right. Go down to the bottom.
Yep.
Follow the tree line all the way up, through the barriers. You come to the traffic lights. Straight through the lights, you go around the left-hand bend and you need the first turning on the left.
Okay, so having to get past lots of buggies and children and anxious parents. We made it into Alton Towers! 10:07, that's not bad, is it? Considering we had to find a special space for a motorhome. Theme parks are amazing and all that, but I've got old enough now to prefer stately homes and grand old buildings, and I can't help but admire this. But of course, I'm with the younger kids and all they want to do is go on thrill-seeking rides, which is absolutely fine.
Here we are at Alton Towers with the family. Now I've never been to this park before because it's so far away from home, but the landscape, you can see that, just a taste of it, is amazing. Well, Lindy and I have done 3 really intense rides: Bully, Galactica, Wickerman, Nemesis. And now we're taking a break to go and find the rest of the gang before I go on some rides with Etty. Founded on the site of an Iron Age camp, there were actually many different buildings before the existing towers, but from 1412 until 1924 they all belonged to the same family. That family were the Talbots, founders of the Talbot Motor Car Company. Doors were opened to the public in 1860 and the total income that year was £116. 30 years later, by 1890, the towers were attracting crowds of 30,000 to watch acrobats, lion tamers, elephants, bands and fireworks. It wasn't until the 1980s that it became known as the theme park. As well as the rides, we spent a lot of time right at the end of the day in the beautiful mature gardens, which are full of Grade 1 and Grade 2 listed buildings, as well as rabbits.
We're in the Peak District National Park and we've only just left Alton Towers, and we're hoping that this is remote enough for us to empty our black waste. We've tried to find a toilet that is super remote, and we can only see 3 other cars parked here. It's after 6 o'clock at night. So we hope this won't be too inconsiderate.
At this point, I'd like to point out that this is not something we make a habit of. With 5 people on board, all using the toilet, it turns out after 2 days it's full, and if we can't find a Brit stop somewhere or we're not on site, then it's an emergency situation. There's someone right behind us, and I poured it into the toilet and it didn't get any lower, and it went right up to the rim.
Oh no.
There's someone behind us with a dog and I feel like I'm going to get told off. Fear not, we left the toilet exactly how we found it and all was good with the world. Time for a pit stop.
I am just blown away by the views around here. I mean, when I was a 20-something, I spent quite a bit of time in the Peak District, but I must have never fully appreciated it. Granted, it hasn't got the amazing mountains that you might find in Snowdonia and in Scotland, but it's just lovely. It feels really serene and much easier to drive a motorhome around. We're stopping here to have some pasta pesto, and then we're going to drive for about an hour and 10 minutes or so all the way to St Helens, which isn't too far from Wigan. The kids are just doing their colour by numbers on a tablet, and Indy's just informed me he's not doing gaming, he's uploading videos to his editing software so that he can edit some of his shenanigans for his YouTube channel.
I know I have you because I'm ready to go watch it, but I never know.
Oh, it's lovely out there. Well, this couldn't get much more perfect, could it? Dinner with a view. We've been using Road Lords for about the last hour and a half. It seems to have gone okay, but we're pulling up to a Brit stop where you don't have to phone ahead. Ah, the hunters.
There's someone in, I think there's someone in the motorhome in there.
Okay, well that's a good sign. Let's hope there's space for us because we didn't have to phone ahead.
Is there a motorhome?
I don't know. Oh yes. There is a motorhome. Well, thank you, the Hunters. Very close to Preston. It's dog friendly and there's Wi-Fi, but we're not expecting anything else. My son's just editing his video in the background. Happy days?
Very happy at the moment.
Yeah, we're okay for water, we're okay for electricity-ish.
Not anyone's way.
We're not in anyone's way. It's an enormous car park.
I'll be no bother, sir.
Well done. High five.
10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. You haven't really been walking 20,000 steps today, have you, around Alton Towers?
I'm 35 away from 22,000, so I'll just do a couple of laps of the van.
Yeah, why not? So this made me giggle. Now we've stopped and the engine's quiet. I'm just laughing at this power setup to enable Indy to do some editing. What a giggle. Yes, I know. This is something for everyone to comment upon. Come on, sort out your power. Who do you think you are, you utter mavericks? Come on,
This doesn't look dangerous at all.
Yeah, just a few sparks. I'm glad we don't have any small people on our journey.
I've done a full risk assessment.
And
I'm going to be perfectly safe.
Yes, and it's classed as high risk. We do have a carbon monoxide monitor in here, so we won't die of carbon monoxide poisoning. We just might die of a massive electric shock.
In our next video, join us as we reach Blackpool and add 3 more Merlin attractions to our trip. Until our next escape, thanks for watching.